My name is Madison Taylor Brooks. I'm 14 years old, and on October 17th, I died for 12 minutes when our car flipped 3 times on Highway 29. I was in the back seat, scrolling through TikTok, barely paying attention to Mom driving me to volleyball practice. My little brother Tyler was playing his Nintendo Switch next to me. The rain was coming down so hard that Mom kept asking me to look up directions because she couldn't see the exit. I remember being annoyed because I was right in the middle of watching this dance trend video. I didn't look up. Then it happened. The semi-truck came out of nowhere. Mom screamed. Tyler dropped his game. My phone flew out of my hands as our SUV spun across 3 lanes. I remember the sound of metal crushing and glass breaking. Then nothing. But then I was floating above our car. I could see the ambulance lights flashing. People were running around below me. The rain was still pouring, but I couldn't feel it. I watched as they pulled my body out of the wreckage. My favorite blue volleyball shorts were torn. My face was covered in blood. Mom was crying, being held back by a firefighter. Tyler was already in an ambulance. I tried to yell, "Mom, I'm okay, I'm right here," but she couldn't hear me. Then everything got really bright. The ambulances, the highway, Mom, it all faded away. I felt myself being pulled through what felt like a tunnel of light. It wasn't scary. It felt warm, like when you stand in the sunlight on the first day of summer. That's when I saw him. Jesus was standing there, and he was nothing like the pictures in Sunday school. He was... I don't even have words. Light poured from him, but somehow I could still see his face. His eyes, they looked right through me like he knew every thought I'd ever had, every mean text I'd ever sent, every TikTok video I'd ever posted. But he still loved me completely. When he smiled at me, I felt like I was home, really home. Not like our house back in Oak Ridge, something deeper. Madison? He said my name, and it sounded like music. His voice wasn't loud, but it filled everything. I started crying. Not sad tears. I don't know how to explain it. I just felt everything at once. All the love I'd ever wanted, and all the peace I never knew I needed. "Am I dead?" I asked him. "For a little while," he said. "But I have something to show you first, something important." He reached out his hand, and when I took it, suddenly we were somewhere else. It looked like a giant room with thousands of screens floating in the air. On each screen, I could see kids my age, some younger, some older, all staring down at phones or tablets or computers. "What is this?" I asked. Jesus looked sad. "This is what I see every day. These are the children I love, but they cannot hear me anymore." As we walked through the room, I could see closer. Each screen showed someone like me, hunched over, scrolling mindlessly. Their eyes looked empty. But the weird thing was, around each person were these shadows. Dark figures that whispered things into their ears. "What are those?" I whispered, moving closer to Jesus. "The enemy's workers," he said. "They speak lies through the screens." He brought me to one screen where a girl about my age was crying while scrolling through Instagram. Around her neck was what looked like a heavy chain, and at the end of it was her phone. The shadows were putting more links on the chain with every swipe of her finger. "Her name is Emma," Jesus said. "She believes she is worthless because she doesn't look like the filtered images she sees. She spends 6 hours every day comparing herself to lies." I felt sick because that was me too. I remembered crying in my bedroom because Kylie posted pictures from her birthday party that I wasn't invited to. I'd spent 3 hours that night scrolling through everyone's perfect lives, feeling worse and worse. Jesus touched the screen, and I could hear Emma's thoughts. Nobody would care if I wasn't here anymore. Look how happy everyone else is. "But that's not true," I said, "and people would care." "You understand," Jesus said quietly. "But she cannot hear the truth anymore. The voices from her screen are too loud." We moved to another screen. A boy, maybe 12, was playing a violent game. With each kill in the game, the shadows around him grew bigger. He looked pale, with dark circles under his eyes. He hasn't slept more than 4 hours a night for 3 years, Jesus said. The games were designed to keep him there, to make him need them. His parents don't know he's playing until 3 a.m. every night. His anger is growing. His ability to feel compassion is shrinking. I thought about Tyler and how he'd thrown his controller at me last week when Mom made him turn off his game for dinner. Jesus showed me more screens, kids sending cruel messages to classmates while laughing, girls taking inappropriate pictures to get attention, boys watching violent and sexual content that made the shadows around them dance with glee. Everywhere, phones and tablets glowed like little prisons. Madison, Jesus said, turning to me, do you know how many hours you've spent looking at a screen in your life? I shook my head. He waved his hand, and I saw what looked like an hourglass. But instead of sand, it was filled with moments of my life. Moments I'd never get back. I saw myself sitting on the couch while my grandma tried to tell me stories about her childhood, but I was watching YouTube. I saw hundreds of sunsets I'd missed because I was taking selfies instead of actually looking at them. I saw myself ignoring my brother when he wanted to play because I couldn't pause my TikTok scrolling. 8,422 hours, Jesus said quietly. That's how much of your life was given to a screen. I did the math in my head. That was over a year of my life gone. But everyone does it, I whispered, feeling ashamed. Yes, Jesus said. And that's why I'm showing you this. The enemy has found a way into every home, every bedroom, every mind, without anyone noticing. Parents give their children these devices without understanding they're handing them poison in small, addictive doses. Then Jesus showed me something that broke my heart. He showed me hundreds of moments where he had tried to speak to me, when I was alone in my room, or walking to school, or lying in bed at night. Times when his presence was there, when he wanted to comfort me or guide me. But every single time I'd reached for my phone instead. I'd chosen the noise over his voice. The greatest trick, Jesus said, was making everyone believe they're connected when they're actually more alone than ever. Tears were streaming down my face now. I'm sorry, I said. I didn't know. Jesus put his arm around me. This is why you're seeing this, Madison, because others need to know. Then he showed me one more scene. It was our living room, but different. My family was playing a board game. No phones in sight. Everyone was laughing. Outside it was raining, just like the day of the accident. But inside it was warm and bright. I could almost smell Mom's cookies baking. This could have been tonight, Jesus said softly, if the phones had been put away. My heart felt like it was breaking. I never realized how much I'd missed by staring at a screen. Madison, Jesus said, your time here isn't finished. You have an important message to share. But I don't want to go back, I said, and I meant it. Being with him felt so good, so right. I want to stay with you. He smiled that smile that made me feel completely loved. I'm always with you, Madison, but your family needs you and others need to hear what you've seen. Will they listen, I asked. Some will, he said, and that's enough to start changing things. He touched my forehead and suddenly I felt myself being pulled back, away from his light, through the tunnel again, faster and faster. Then pain, so much pain, beeping machines, bright hospital lights, someone yelling, "She's back! We've got a pulse!" I gasped for air, my chest burning like I'd swallowed fire. My whole body hurt. I couldn't move my left leg. There was a tube down my throat. The doctors called it a miracle. They said my heart had stopped for 12 minutes. They said I should have brain damage, but all my tests came back normal. They couldn't explain it. Mom cried for 3 days straight. Dad, who had been away on a business trip, refused to leave my hospital room after he arrived. Tyler made me a card that said "Best sister ever," even though I'd been pretty mean to him lately. When they finally took the breathing tube out, the first thing I said was, "Where's my phone?" Mom looked surprised. "Honey, it was destroyed in the crash." And I started crying, not because I missed my phone, but because I was relieved it was gone. It took weeks before I could tell them everything I'd seen. At first, I was afraid they wouldn't believe me, but something had changed in me, and they could see it. The first night I was home from the hospital, I asked everyone to put their phones in a basket. Then I told them about Jesus, about the screens, about the shadows, about the moments we'd lost. I told them how the devices we think keep us connected are actually tearing us apart. Dad cried. I'd never seen him cry before. That was 6 months ago. Our house is different now. We have a phone box that all devices go into during family time. We started playing board games on Friday nights. Mom deleted most of her social media apps. Dad stopped bringing his laptop home from work. Tyler still plays games, but with a timer, and mostly ones we can play together. The hardest part was going back to school and telling my friends. Some of them thought I was weird now. Some stopped hanging out with me because I wouldn't spend lunch periods scrolling through TikTok anymore, but some listened. My best friend Zoe deleted Snapchat after I told her what I saw. She said she'd been feeling more anxious and sad lately, but couldn't figure out why. Now she's sleeping better. Her mom sent my mom a thank you text. I still struggle sometimes. Those apps are designed to pull you back in. Sometimes I borrow mom's phone and find myself mindlessly scrolling before I even realize what I'm doing. The habit is strong, but now I can feel when it's happening, like Jesus opened my eyes to see the chains. If you're watching this, I want you to try something. Just for one day, put your phone away. Look at the people around you, really look at them. Listen when they talk. Feel the sun on your face without taking a picture of it. You might be surprised by what you hear in the quiet. Jesus told me that the enemy can't create anything. He can only distort what God made. He took our need for connection and twisted it into something that actually isolates us. He took our desire to be known and loved and convinced us that likes and followers could fill that hole. They can't, they never will. I know some people won't believe my story, that's okay. But if you're a parent watching this, please hear me. Your kids need you to be brave. They need you to set boundaries they can't set for themselves. They need you to create space where God's voice can be louder than the screens. And if you're my age, watching this, know that you're worth more than your follower count. The filtered, perfect lives you see online aren't real. The shadows want you to believe you're missing out. But the truth is, life, real life, is happening right now, all around you. And Jesus is trying to get your attention. Maybe this video is one way he's doing that. I don't have all the answers. I'm just a 14-year-old girl who died for 12 minutes and came back different. But I know what I saw, I know what I felt, and I know we can't keep living like this, heads down, thumbs scrolling, hearts empty. Put down your phone, look up, he's waiting to show you what really matters. Because the truth is, none of us know how much time we have left, and I don't want to waste another second of mine on shadows and screens.
I quit social media 4 years ago and it completely changed my life. For background, I deleted everything, Instagram, Twitter, everything back in the beginning of 2021. It is now 2025 and I just started TikTok like a month ago, and this is my only social media I have now. Those 4 years offline taught me everything I didn't know I needed. The first thing that I noticed is that I just became my most authentic self. You're just a much more interesting person because you're not consuming what other people are wearing, what they're thinking, what they're saying. And you just have space for your own thoughts. You have space for learning new hobbies, reading new books, reading articles. So you just become much more interesting because you're present in your actual self. You're not in such a huge influencing bubble. You're influenced by the world and the people around you in your reality, in your day-to-day life. But you're not influenced by like consumer trends, by social media trends. It's just really refreshing because you know like the person that you're becoming is who you're meant to be. And then eventually when you're there, you just like can settle into yourself. It's a really amazing experience. Number 2 is that you suddenly have so much time. You didn't even know how much time and how many things you can accomplish in a single day. It's just so productive and it's so freeing. Life just stops disappearing into a scroll. My days would feel longer, I would feel more fulfilled, I would fill it with so much stuff, learning, reflecting, moving. I was actually doing things and I was building a life instead of just watching one go by and like looking up from my phone and seeing that 4 hours had passed. And I think that also in turn is what makes you a much more interesting person, is suddenly you have all this time to do so many other things and to read and to fill your mind with other thoughts. So those two kind of go hand in hand. Number 3, this is one of the best things that happened when I deleted social media, was that I just stopped comparing myself. I just think it's a natural tendency for humans to compare. You're always going to compare value A to value B. That's just a natural human tendency. You don't need to try and shut it down completely, but it's not normal for us to have a window into everyone's lives at all times. I think that has broken our brains a little bit. When I was offline, I only knew what was happening to me and the people around me, and I think that that's the way it's always been, and it felt right. It felt natural. I was really able to break that toxic mentality of just always feeling behind and comparing myself to everyone. And now that I have TikTok, it's kind of come back, but when I was completely offline, I didn't really feel that. Number 4, it was also something life-changing that I noticed, was that I had to learn to sit with my emotions. You can't inoculate yourself with dopamine hits and avoid the painful emotions anymore with social media. You have to learn to sit in the discomfort. You have to learn to face yourself and learn to sit with your difficult emotions. I wasn't able to escape my feelings anymore, and that really changed everything. It made me stronger, it made me more emotionally resilient, and I was able to gain peace in my own head. Like, my brain just felt like green. It was a forest of peace. It was amazing. Number 5 is your relationships get better. When you're grounded in reality, you just show up differently, and people can feel that. You're more present, you listen better. You're just so in the present that you really see people when you're with them, and they can feel that. And you feel that with yourself. You feel so present with yourself. And you cherish them more because you just cherish your day-to-day life. You cherish the people in your life because this is your reality. This is what you have. And you know what's crazy is, like, I remember how impossible at the time it felt to delete Instagram. Like, what if I didn't know about other people's lives and things like that? And once you do it, you're like, who are they to you? Only people who matter are in your day-to-day life. It's crazy to see once you delete it how disillusioned you can be that, oh, this really is nothing. It means nothing. And at the time, it felt really important. It was a big part of my life. I was on my phone a lot. And now it's just not a part of my reality at all. Honestly, the biggest thing about deleting my social media was knowing that I can live without it. At the time, I felt like I couldn't live without it, and now I know that I can, and I'm better for it. Honestly, now that I'm on TikTok for the past month and a half, I can see the way it's kind of getting me back in that loop, and that's not my fault. It's engineered to be that way. It's very calculated, but even though it might not be our fault what our digital environment is and how we evolve with it, it is our responsibility to learn how to navigate it ourselves and for our day-to-day lives. If quitting is something that you're considering, I highly recommend it. Even if it's just for a little bit, you're just going to see yourself change only in positive ways. Social media can be positive in a lot of ways, but it can be very, very negative in a lot of ways. And even when you take that step back, when you take a little break or a long break like I did, you're able to discern more how you can use it effectively in your life. I promise it'll only be positive. Like, you will only change for the better. And I feel like deleting it when I was young like that has kind of changed my trajectory for the rest of my life and how I'm going to use social media. It's just so peaceful out here. So peaceful in here.
I decided to delete my Instagram because I just felt like I was so addicted to this kind of false version of my life that it was just taking over. I would be on set working, I'd come and sit in my chair and just scroll, and it was becoming a problem. I was just obsessed with it, and I was obsessed to find out what people were saying and what they thought about me. So I decided to make an announcement, which unfortunately we have to do, and say that I'm taking a break from social media. And I tried to position myself and say, like, I'm taking a break from social media because I feel like my mental health will benefit from it. And the thing that really upset me is the press ran with that, and they tried to make out that I was having this mental breakdown. And what upset me was, if I was having a mental breakdown, that's not for you to report on. They took the story in the wrong direction, and they painted again this negative light on.
Turn it off. That's what I would say. It's hard for young people now because they're hooked. They're addicted. If you don't think you're addicted, and I'm talking about anyone, from the highest to the lowest, if you don't think you're addicted, then see if you can turn it off for a week. It got quiet in here, didn't it? Didn't it get real quiet? It's a tool. So we should use it. God has blessed us with free will. Now it's free will magnified, free will on steroids. You're free to go in any direction you want. It will allow you, and it's not the enemy. It's just a reflection of our own free will. Oh, and we all want to be liked. But now we want to be liked by 16 million. And will now some of us do anything to be liked? We used to do anything to be liked, but it was by the person in front of you. Now it's to be liked by 16 million people that you don't know.
Get off social media. That would be my honest advice. But that's a nearly impossible thing to say to a generation younger than me and my generation as well. So my advice is everything you're looking at is 90% fake.
Yeah.
And you have no idea what's behind a photo. And you have no idea what's actually going on. All you have is who you are. Take breaks and just enjoy what's actually around you. Because believe it or not, everything in this little tiny device does not define you, does not make you a human. It's simply a device. You can put it down and be a part of the world again. Try to do that.